Dr. K-Sell are in the house with Hurricane Betsy Barnes. And we're so glad to have with us Laura Poche with Poche Estate Planning, because sometimes maybe you don't have your house quite in order, and there's lots of things that you don't want to think about, but when you need to think about them, that's not when you want to be getting it in order. And I know a lot of us have been that way, especially during this year with COVID. And so Laura did some estate planning for me years ago, which actually you need to update here and there because things do change.
That's right.
But Laura, tell folks about yourself and your background and your interest in this.
Absolutely. Well, I'm originally from the West Bank of New Orleans, from Gretna, and many, many years ago came up here to Baton Rouge for my undergraduate studies at LSU. Wound up going to LSU Law School. My husband and I, we decided, moved back to New Orleans, got married, and then both got job offers back here in Baton Rouge. So now we've been back here for about 32 years. We have 3 grown sons. And I guess my passion, I'm a planner. I'm a planner, Kay. And what I mean by that is that I firmly believe that if people just know their options in so many respects, they know what they want. They know what's best for themselves, for their families. But many times they're just kind of at a loss because they don't know somebody who can facilitate them accomplishing their goals. And that's kind of where I come in. So I also, I'm a board certified estate planning and administration attorney. I've been practicing in this area now for about 30 years because I firmly believe that, you know, as the congressman was just speaking about, sometimes I get very frustrated because so many things are going on in the world that we do not have any control over. Okay, we don't. But there is one thing that we do have a lot of control over, and it's where our focus should be, I believe, and that's on our family. And it's the people that we love, and it's the assets, the hardworking assets that we've been able to acquire. And that's what estate planning really is about. It's really about preserving your hard-earned assets for your benefit and to take care of those that you love.
Well, you know, I think what happens is people get so busy making those assets, working, taking care of their family, that they don't think about all the paperwork that's required. And then sometimes if they have a family member that passes, they find themselves, even if there is a will, that they're like, have this nightmarish probate that they have to go to. All the assets are frozen. So I want you to speak about the types of wills, what kind of will you need.
Sure.
Do you need a trust, and exactly what is that? Some people don't know. I mean,
sure.
What is a trust, or do you need both of them?
Well, I think it's really important, if you love your family, don't wait for them to sort it out. That is the worst thing you can do for the next generation or two, is to have people fighting over what they thought was going to happen.
Because there are no such thing as oral wills in Louisiana.
Yes.
So just because mom, you think, says, when you're in 3rd grade, okay, you can have that chifforobe. Well, guess what? That's not valid. That's not valid.
And you can't put an address label under something, and that makes it yours.
I know, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So I mean, basically, I think that most of my practice is it's educational, because I think that people just need to know their options, and once given options, they can make educated decisions. So the way that I look at it, the basic estate planning documents, ones that almost are more important than your will and your trust, especially these days, powers of attorney.
Absolutely.
Because the statistics are, and you may know this, because I'm sure you would know this, but the statistics are, even before COVID, that the chances, the probability of us dying actually is less than us becoming disabled or incapable when we're alive. So think about it. I mean, it's a pretty, it's a pretty depressing statistic. But the fact of the matter is that if you do not give someone the legal authority to basically step into your shoes, to make financial decisions for you if you cannot, to make medical decisions for you if you cannot, the only way you can gain that authority after the fact is basically to sue your loved one in a different court proceeding called an interdiction.
Wow, which is, awful.
It is. I mean, it's even more emotional and costly than even the succession process. So something very simple that you can do today, everybody needs 2 powers of attorney.
And that's the thing, too. Sometimes, as you know, we learned too. We thought, well, a power of attorney was a power of attorney, but no, there's different types of powers of attorney.
That's right.
Just because you have one doesn't mean you have the other.
That's
so yeah,
true. That is
explain.
True. Two powers
I've had
of
that
attorney.
explained to me already. So.
Right. And you recently, and it's amazing how people, they hear this and, oh, that makes sense. Yes, we really need this.
Yeah.
But there are always 50 different things that take priority. Procrastination sets in. But unfortunately, there normally comes a time, something triggers. For example, maybe the situation that happened recently in your family, that's what triggered, we really need to get something done, because people see what the alternative is.
Right.
The other I call incapacity planning document. It's the living will declaration. So that's the one really about life support systems.
Right, and that frequently, if you're in the hospital or something,
you're asked
about that.
And many times people have no clue what that really means.
Right.
And so sometimes because of that, they say, no. And of course, they're worried about surgery. They're not going to go back and get, I need that living will declaration, right? So, but those are what I call the lifetime disability planning documents. Then you have wills, or you have trust. Everybody knows what a will is. It's how you will distribute assets that you leave upon your death. There are two valid forms of will in Louisiana, only two. There used to be 5, but now it's 2.
Oh, that's good.
You may
it's
have
getting simpler, right?
Let's say it that way. That sounds good.
Sounds
so
good,
there's
right.
one, it's a notarial will, because you go before a notary and 2 witnesses. That's the one that you commonly think of. But there's also what we call an holographic will, which is a handwritten will. And the key on this is that at the very beginning of the document, you have to date it, you have to spell out the month. So, because abroad, they inverse the month in the year. So like today is February the 10th? Well, abroad would be October the 2nd. So how you like that? So you just have to make sure you spell out the month, and then you write it. And then the last thing that should be on your holographic will is your name. That is a valid will. You need an original. Only originals can be probated, and so you need to save the original. But those are 2 valid forms of wills. What are trusts? It's unfortunate there's so much miscommunication and misinformation about trust, because there are over 50 of them, and they do 50 different things.
Oh, wow.
It's just a word, right? So as an estate planning attorney, I have on like this invisible tool belt. My tools, though, are made of paper. They're not made of steel and iron. Sometimes it's called a power of attorney. Sometimes it's called the last will and testament. Sometimes it's called a particular type of trust. So you really need to get over, I think, the name trust. You have to have confidence that whatever professional that you're speaking with have confidence to get you from point A to point B, okay? The reason why the common use of the word trust, you are trusting someone else or someplace else to do something for you in your stead. That's really what it comes down to, and that's why there's so much miscommunication. But there are 2 basic types of trust when I talk about wills, like will replacements. One big trust it's called the revocable living trust, and its purpose is to do everything that a will does, except when you pass away, your heirs are not calling a lawyer like me to go through your succession.
Right.
Okay, that is the purpose. That is the sole purpose of that trust. It makes things very easy, and your intention, a will intention, is still exactly the same. It's just that you avoid all of the expense, stress, and delay many times that occurs because of
perfect
it.
sense.
Doesn't it, though? It really does. And when people hear that, some people think, oh, you've got to be extremely wealthy in order to have a trust. That is just not the case. I have some people with a net worth of $100,000. I have some clients with a net worth of $5 million. You know what? The house that they live in, the assets that they've acquired, they're just as special regardless. So you got to get over this whole concept of net worth. It's what's important to you, what's important to your family. The other type of trust that we've been doing a lot of lately, it's because of the high cost of long-term care.
Yes.
And this fact that who would have ever dreamed that an average monthly rental of a nursing home is $7,000 a month?
Yeah.
I mean, this is...
People aren't living on that at home.
No,
Most people aren't.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so yeah, I mean, last thing you want to do is have couples. I mean, I have so many clients, they've been married together, they've worked very hard for 40, 50, 60 years, and then catastrophic illness, and they lose everything. And a lot of people's motivations in estate planning they want to take care. They have a lot of pride in what they do, and they want to take care of their loved ones. A big part of some people's estates is they do want to leave a legacy. It may not be to a family member, it may be to a charitable organization and what have you, but it's kind of their mantra. It fulfills them. What matters to them. That's right. And so much of that is done through the use of wills and or trust. And most people, when I talk with them, they say to themselves, or they say to me, Laura, I have a very simple situation. I do not need a will. Okay?
And you're going, yeah, that don't sound so simple.
Well, everybody thinks, really, that they have a simple situation. Yeah. Not many people have a very complex situation, although there have been a couple. I will say there have been a couple. But no, everybody thinks that. But to be honest with you, the only people that I have ever come across in my practice who do not need a will are people who don't own a house, they rent, they have checking accounts to which they add an added signer in the event of death. There's no freezer of cash. And people who have IRAs and life insurance policies only.
Yeah, where they're designated to who gets that.
That's exactly right. That's
so
exactly right.
We have less than a minute left, and
Sure.
I know that you give seminars,
Yes.
you talk this. Tell people what's the best way if they go, I want to know more. You've really piqued my interest. Where should they go to find out?
Thank you. So Kay, I do about 8 to 10, I call it educational events per month, normally the third and fourth week of the month. Because of COVID, there have been a couple of different ways that you can do it. You can actually have my webinar, if you will, online. You contact our office, we'll send you a link. So you can actually, in the privacy of your own home, 24/7, you're able to watch this, and it's just to learn.
And we can share that link.
Yes,
yeah, you can share the link.
For sure.
In addition, of course, right now, I normally would have these events maybe sometimes at local restaurants. Well, that's kind of limited now.
Yep.
So most of them, the people who do feel comfortable coming in to the office, I just have it in my conference room. And you can, my office number, area code 224-8099. Our website is pocheestateplanning.com. pocheestateplanning.com, and I think that'll get you there.
We're going to share
Awesome,
that.
and we will share all that information. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We've been talking with Laura Poche, and up next we will have Dr. John Olson talking about some of the things that they've got going on at Neuromedical Center with Mary Bird Perkins Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center.